Welcome back to the Garza Gaming Channel. Today we have a very special video. I'm going to come up with 5 tips to new players playing Smite that I think they should know based on the recurring questions or the same type questions I get from a lot of our new players. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so one of the biggest questions I get from newbie players is how do you get to your auto buys? How do you set up your auto buys for items, and how do you set up your auto buys for abilities? So we're going to cover that today. So what you do is you go to your gods, pick whatever god that you want. Say you want to pick Morgan Le Fay, right? So then you come down to custom builder, and then right here is where you actually pick what items you want to do. So say let's clear this. So say I wanted to, add some boots in here. You just click on boots, find the boots you want, and hit select. And then when you want to add it to your actual items bar, all you got to do is just click this build button, and it automatically adds it to there. And then you just go down the line. I'll just pick like random stuff, just to fill out the slots, just for the case in point. And that's pretty much it. And then what ends up happening is, once you get done with this, you end up hitting save, which we're not going to do because I don't want to mess up my build. But that's that simple for items. Now, what ends up happening is when you're done with doing your items, then you go to click up here where it says abilities, right? And here is where you actually do your abilities. So what you end up doing is right here at the bottom, you can highlight and see what each ability does if you can't remember. Because if you go up here, it's not going to tell you anything, right? So right here, you'll be able to see what your passive is. Right here, you'll be individual. And then say you want to give priority to your number 1 and then your number 2, but always giving priority to your number 4 on, when you can get it. So then right off the get-go, you're going to be able to get 3 levels, right? So what I always recommend is at least get 1 of each. That way you have at least 3 abilities on hand starting out once you get those levels up, right? So what I do is I pick 1, 2, 3, and then from here you just prioritize which one you think makes more sense for your playstyle. So say for instance for me, I look at these and I'm like, well, that one has a higher cooldown, so going higher on that one. But then again, this one has more stuff, so you know what, let me go ahead and add this one more. Oh, we got your alt, this one, and then this one's going to make more sense because the more levels I get in this one, the lower the cooldown is going to be. So I hit that one. My ult goes bam, bam, bam. Got that. So at this point, at this level, it brought it down to a 14-second or a 13-second cooldown, which is in line with all these other ones. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get this one up now. Bam, bam, bam. And then you would hit save. And it's that simple. So once you get done with this and save it, then when you go into the game, it should be as soon as you have the ability to level, whether you have the experience or the money to buy a certain item, it will automatically do it for you. And as you know, in an arena, time is money. So this is just an easy tip on how to quickly get your items bought and your abilities bought. Okay, so now that we talked about how to actually build your abilities and build your items auto buys, let me go to show you how to turn your auto buy actually on, right? And or off. So when you get to the selection screen right here, at the very top right, you'll see where it says guides. So click on guides, and this is where you can actually turn on your skill buy auto buy and your purchase auto buys, right? So that's very important because sometimes if you go in game and actually turn them off, they will stay off until you turn them back on. And I found that out the hard way on a lot of my games, right? So yeah, as long as those 2 checks are done, you're pretty much good to go. And here, now let me show you how to do it in game. Okay, so now you're in the game. The game arena match has already started, and then you're like, oh man, I forgot to turn on my auto buy. Now, up to season 8, there was, if you're on PC especially, there was no way of turning on your auto buy as soon as you got into the arena, man. It used to drive me insane. But in season 8, they actually added the ability to turn it on your auto buy on if you forgot to do so. Now, if you go to your buy thing right here, all you'll see is the turn off. So say it was on, you wanted to turn it off, you would do that here, right? But as you can see, if you turn it off, you can't turn it back on over here. So you're like, hey, you know, how the heck do I turn off my auto buy? And that's where a lot of our new people to Smite get caught up. But this is how you do it. What you do is you exit this, you hit escape on your keyboard and bring up your options screen. Right here, you'll see where it says guides. Click on guides and just turn on your auto purchase again. Boom. You go back in there and it's back on again. It's just that simple. And I tell you what, man, I was banging my head against the wall forever until some of our subscribers finally talked me through this, you know, in the comment sections, because I think it was Gilgamesh or something where I accidentally did his mission and it totally screwed up my auto buy. And I was like, man, I wish they added it to the game. They're like, they did it in season 8. So yeah, man, that's freaking amazing. So I'm glad they added that in. So yeah, that's how you turn on auto buy in game. Know when your allies have their ults up, right? A lot of individuals that play Smite for the first time don't know that if you look under in the top left corner right here in my HUD, you'll see a little crystal that just lit up blue for 2 of the gods right there at the bottom, right? That blue crystal, what that indicates is that the gods alt is active. So you can see right now there's 3 people on my team have their alt active right now, and 2 of them are on cooldown. So as soon as they all come off cooldown, they'll all be that light blue color. Now when they're off cooldown, they'll all be gray. Now this is very important when you play gods like, say, an Ares or a Daji, where you're actually the spearhead to a big play, right? Where you're going to blink in and do your ult and then have multiple team members ult on top of you, right? So before you want to blink in there, you want to make sure that your team members have their ults up, especially if you're in a pug group, because in many pug groups you're not going to have comms, and a lot of people are not going to be using the invoice commands for the game, right, to tell you that their ult is ready. So that is an easy way of seeing, okay, everybody's ult's ready, or at least, you know, 3 or 4 out of 5 people's ult's ready. Let me go in and blink, because it makes no sense to go in and do that your Ares ult when everybody's ult is on cooldown, unless it is an emergency type situation. But yeah, that's just an easy thing that that a lot of individuals overlook. So that's how you know when your team members have their ults up. Okay, so the last tip I have for you guys is another question that I always get on the norm is that, hey, how did I change up my on-screen controls, my HUD? How did I customize that, right? Now, when you first come into the game, obviously, before you come into a match, if you hit escape, you don't have that HUD selection. So what you want to end up doing is going into a training or an actual match, right? And once in, what you do is you hit escape, and here you'll have the ability to use a HUD editor. Okay, so from here you just hit click HUD editor, and right here in this selection bar you'll be able to click on and off what you want to see and what you don't want to see, right? So say for example, you're tired of the freaking toxic people in chat, right? Well, you can actually turn off the chat right there at the bottom, or turn it back on, right? Or you can actually scale it down where you can barely see it. And that's what I do. I keep it on just in case, but I scale it down, you know, to where it's very, very small. So it doesn't really stand out. So if people are being toxic, most of the time I don't even see it. But if I have to ask a question or make a statement or something, I can, you know, look down and get a reply. But that's just me, right? But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then, like, say for example, you want your, you know, your notifications up there. You just you hold down your left mouse button, and this is for PC players. I don't know how you guys do it with consoles, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty much similar. But you just hold your left mouse button and you just move it around and put it where you want it. You know, if I wanted my chat bar up here, I just bring it up there. You know, if I wanted my level up to ring right there, I'd stick it right there. It's pretty user friendly, right? Now, the biggest thing that I would recommend for sure is your map. Okay, so your map is right here. Normally, you have your map way the heck up there. Now, your map is very important in Arena, right? A lot of times we tend, especially if you're new to the game, you tend to get really big tunnel vision and never look at your map. So what I like doing is, like, I bring in my map just a little bit, where it's like just to the right of my character or my view where I'm normally looking, right? This is very important, especially if you're running and you have the enemy to your back. You can actually look on your glance to your map and see if anybody's giving chase, so you know whether to zigzag, or if you have you see Cuckoo Khan coming up behind you, or a Janus, you can expect that you're about to get ulted, so you're gonna have to, you know, decide whether you want to break left or break right. Or maybe even a Thanatos. You know, you see a Thanatos start booking behind you, that means he's probably going to ult you and come at you, right? But just stuff like that. Just, you know, just a little pro tip for y'all. And yeah, that's pretty much it, you know. Like I said, it's pretty user-friendly, and that's pretty much how you set up your custom hub. So that was my 5 tips for newbies coming into Smite. Now, out of all the tips that we covered today, if you cannot remember any of them, the most important one to remember for sure is how to turn on and off the auto buy in-game, right? Because there's going to be situations in arena, time is money. Now there's this stigma that if you go in with auto buys with a pre-made build, that you're some type of noob or something, which is totally false. That's just silly, just straight up silly, right? Now I would agree that that in arena there are times when a pre-made build is not going to work as well as if you made a couple modifications on the fly, and that's why it's important that you understand how to turn off and turn back on auto buy to maximize your time delay. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, think about it this way, right? Say that you go into arena and it takes you 3 seconds to actually get in there, turn up, you know, open up your menu, find what you're trying to buy, click it, and turn it off. So each item usually has 3 stages of a build. So you're multiplying 3 seconds times 3 times 6, right? So you got over a minute of downtime in a whole match. A minute is a long time. Heck, 10 seconds is a long time in a match when you're, especially if you're one of the key damage dealers or a key tank, you know, or a key CC individual. The more time that you spend in the fountain, that's the less time that your teammates have your support out in the field. That's why it's so imperative that unless you're just like super fast at selecting what you want, that you understand the benefits of having auto buys, right? So don't let anybody make you feel less than player for using auto buys. I use auto buys 100% of the time, or I say 99.9% of the time, but I start with it 100% of the time. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I get through a game and say towards the end they have like ridiculous healing, they got a Hell and Aphrodite, you know, as Chanji, you know, and their healing is ridiculous. What I'll end up doing is analyzing my build and say the second to last or the last item, or maybe whatever, you know, in a row, I'll turn off auto buy and then get anti-heal, you know, and then continue on with my build from there. I mean, it's situational. So don't ever let anybody make you think you're less than for using Autobuys. But hey, man, those were our 5 tips, or 5 tips, I should say, for newbies coming into Smite. I hope you enjoyed this video. I might do more of these. If this video actually gets some pretty good reviews, I'll maybe do more of these tips videos in the future to help out all of our newbies coming into Smite. Again, if you're still looking at joining the Garza Gaming Reapers, we still have maybe about 50% of the slots available. So hey, don't delay, you know what I'm saying? Get into the game and give us that application. Now, when you're doing your application, don't forget to put, you know, your YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch name in which you are either sub to us or following us with in the message box of the actual application. If I can't verify that you are a subscriber or follower to our YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, you're not going to get into the clan. That's just to keep things fair, you know what I'm saying? Like I said in my past video when I introduced clans, Hi-Res only gave us 300 slots for a clan for a you know, for a channel that's made up of close to 3,000 players. So hey, you know, it is what it is. Again, I hope you enjoyed this tips video, and for all you that haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I'm Dark Garza, the OG on the GC. See you next time.